Aizen and Urahara are two of the smartest characters in Bleach. Both manipulate people, both hide their true ability, both operate 10 steps ahead of everyone else. So why did one become a god while the other ended up selling candy? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Aizen is better at controlling the game. Urahara is better at surviving it. And that difference is exactly why Aizen lost. When people compare Aizen and Urahara, the conversation usually becomes who is smarter. And honestly, that is the wrong question because these two don't use intelligence in the same way. Aizen wants to control the board. Urahara wants to make sure there is still a board left when everything goes wrong. And once you understand that, their entire rivalry starts looking different. Aizen's greatest weapon was never Kyokasugitsu. It was his ability to make people believe they understood him. A captain, kind, reliable, the guy who would probably help you carry grocery. Meanwhile, he's secretly experimenting on souls, manipulating the Gotie 13, creating the Arankar army, and preparing to overthrow the Soul King. That is not intelligence, that is control. Aizen doesn't just predict what people will do, he creates situations where their choices benefit him. That is why his betrayal works so well. He doesn't need everyone to obey him, he just needs everyone to misunderstand him, and that is terrifying. Because by the time you realize Aizen has been manipulating you, the manipulation is already over. Urahara is almost the complete opposite. He doesn't need to be the smartest person in the room. He just needs to be the person who has a plan for when the smartest person in the room is wrong. And that is what makes him so dangerous. Urahara's genius isn't about creating perfect plans. It's about creating backup plans for his backup plans. Look at his history. He created the Hogyukyo, he develops countless inventions, he discovers ways to counter impossible ability, he prepares contingency, and most importantly, he hides how much he actually knows. Aizen walks into a room and wants everyone to know he's in control. Urahara walks into a room looking like he accidentally wandered in from his candy shop, and that is exactly how he likes it. Here's where the two really separate. Aizen believes his intelligence makes him superior. Urahara knows his intelligence doesn't make him infallible. And that's difference matter. Aizen's biggest weakness isn't arrogance in the simple sense, it's that he eventually starts believing his own narrative. He becomes so confident in his ability to understand everyone that he stops considering the possibility that someone understands him. Urahara doesn't make that mistake. He assumes something will go wrong. That is practically his entire personality. Aizen creates a perfect plan, Urahara creates a plan knowing that perfect plan is going to get ruined. And honestly, that is much more realistic. And this is where people sometimes miss the point of their final confrontation. Urahara didn't simply walk up to Aizen and beat him. He could not. Aizen had evolved far beyond that. Instead, Urahara did something much more fitting. He created a solution that didn't require him to be stronger than Aizen. The Kido Seal. That is Urahara's entire philosophy in one move. If I can't overpower the problem, I'll build something that makes overpowering it unnecessary. That is why Urahara is so terrifying. He doesn't need to win the fight you're expecting. He just needs to change the conditions of the fight. And that's exactly what happened. If we're talking pure manipulation, Aizen is probably ahead. And if we're talking long-term planning, Aizen has an argument there too. He orchestrated an insane amount of events while remaining hidden. But if we are talking adaptability, preparation, improvisation, finding solution to completely ridiculous problem, that is where Urahara takes it. Because Aizen is a mastermind, but Urahara is an engineer. And engineers have a very annoying habit. They expect things to break. And this is the part I think makes their rivalry so interesting. Aizen spent his entire life trying to transcend the limit of everyone around him. He wanted to become something beyond Shinigami, beyond the hollow, beyond the human. Urahara? He never needed to become a god. He was perfectly comfortable being the weird guy in a hat who sell candy. And maybe that is why he was harder for Aizen to defeat, because Aizen was trying to reach the top of the world, where Urahara was perfectly happy working from underneath it. Aizen wanted to be the final answer. Urahara wanted to have another question. So, who wins? If you put Aizen and Urahara in a room and ask who can manipulate the other first, I'm betting on Aizen. But if you ask who has the better chances of surviving a situation neither of them expected, I'm betting on Urahara, because Aizen is the man who planned everything. Urahara is the man who planned for Aizen. And maybe that's the most perfect rivalry Bleach could have given us. The man who wanted to control everything against the man who knew everything eventually goes wrong. And honestly, that's a fight I'd watch for 1,000 episodes.